सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। On this auspicious day of Adi Shankara Jayanti today, we are privileged to study a composition of none other than Shankaracharya ji, a beautiful treaty, complete Prakana Grantha, the study for the qualifications of the study of Vedanta. Study of Vivekachudamani qualifies us to study the Prasthanatrayi of Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutra. So this is a beautiful composition. Continuing shloka number 22, now we are going to do Shamadhi Shat Sampatti. Virajya Vishaya Vratat Dosha Drushtya Muhur Muhuhu Svalakshye Niyatavastha Manasa Shama Uchyate. So this is Shama. Shama, in a very simple language, it is Mano Nigraha. It is a control of our mind. So what is this Shama? So Shankaracharya ji is impressing upon us that Dosha Drushtya, by having a eye of criticism, criticizing, a very critique drashti, dosha drushtya vishaya vratat, from the sense objects, vratat, and from the chaos of senses, sense objects, virajya, when one detaches from the senses, and muhur muhuhu, again and again the person dosha drushtya manasaha by mind with dosha drishti, again and again the mind is lifted far and away from the very chaos of sense objects. The sense objects are never ever going to disappear. The sense objects will ever remain in front of our eyes, in front of our five senses of perception, five senses of action, the five senses of objects, five senses of objects for the jnanendriyani, the organs of knowledge, and the organs of action, the karmendriyani, the sense objects for them, they will never disappear. It is a choice that we have to make to remove our mind from the world of sense objects. Let the world be, but leading this mind, seeing something and learning to see a dosha drishti, a fault in the sense object. That is why Shankaracharya ji, even in Bhajagovindam, Nari Stanabharanabhi Desham, Moha Maga, all of that Shankaracharya ji says that looking at the very modification of flesh, why is my mind so fascinated by the objective reality of people, women, wine, enjoyments, etc., etc. All of that Shankaracharya ji points out in so many scriptures. Etan mam savasadi vikaram manasi vichintaya varam var. That is what Shankaracharya ji says, that this is just modification, just complete modification of flesh. Continuously, oh my mind, think about it. So in this way, continuously thinking about the sense objects are lurking around us in all directions, but we have to turn away from it, is swalakshye niyatavastha manasaha shama uchyate. So now that we turn the mind's attention away from the sense objects, what are we going to do with such a mind? Well, the mind has to be led to something higher. So swalakshye, one's own goal. And this is necessary even for the material success. If a student wants to get into a good college, again, the sense objects are all going to be there. Movies are there, parties are there, friends are, invitations are come about. But it is the student who decides that no, I need to stay put, I need to get into this college, I need to work hard, and even after college to maintain a job or a higher degree, or in R&D or wherever the person ends up, the focus needs to be there in life. And if the mind is dancing to the tunes of the sense objects around continuously, the life will wither away and we will not be able to reach a goal of life. So that is swalakshye niyata avasthas. Niyata, may you take, may you lead. Swalakshye, to one's own goal. And in that avastha of mind, when it is withdrawn from the sense objects and it is led to one's own goal, that is called manasaha shama iti uchyate. This is the qualification shat shamadhi shat sampatti. This is the first one of the sixfold qualifications of the spiritual aspirant. One is mind control. Now the next one, Dama. What is Dama? Vishayebhyah paravartya sthapanam swasvagolake ubhayesham indriyanam sadamah parikirtitaha. So Dama is talked about over here. And what is Dama over here? So it is said Ubhayesham Indriyanam, both, Ubhayesham meaning both, Indriyanam senses, which the five senses of perception, the five senses of action, and Ubhayesham Indriyanam Vishayebhya, and the objects of those senses, Paravartya, moving the senses away from the sense objects, and swasvagolake sthapanam, and leading the senses into their own respective locus of abidance. Like I leaving it in the residence of the Golak, the ears leaving them in their own residence of the hearing faculty. We just cannot literally pluck out the senses, but leading them in their own dwelling places. A very beautiful example Gurudev used to give is the horses in the evening when they are brought to stables. Each one of the horses, they know exactly where to go. The farmer brings his horses from the pasture, and all the doors are open, and the horses instinctively know which is their stable, and that horse will go in and stand over there. The farmer will come and close the door. There is no fight. The horses know. And interestingly, it is these five horses employed on the chariot metaphor of Katho Upanishad, and Bhagavan Krishna on that chariot gives bodh to Arjuna. So those horses, they are very well trained horses. They know exactly where to go, and they end up in their own respective stable. There is no fight. In the same way, the five horses of the five senses of perception, five horses of the five senses of action, may they all abide in their own individual dwelling place. We cannot remove them, but the ability for us to train our senses to remain in their own respective dwelling places, respective apertures, and not wander about in the fertile fields of sense objects, that over here, saha damah parikirtitaha, that is called dama, the withdrawal of the senses from sense objects. Shama is the withdrawal of the mind from the sense objects. So Shama is mind control, Dama is sense control. So in this way, very beautifully, and then the last line of shloka number 23, it is said that Bahya analambam vrittehe esho parati uttama. So Uparati is just, one line. It's not a full shloka. So it says Bahya analambanam vrittehe esha uparati uttama. So this Bahya analambam, the outside world of sense objects and the inner world of the mind being exposed to the sense objects when that mind has no dependence on the world of sense objects. Bahya analambanam, the mind does not take support of the outside world of objective reality. The mind has been continuously trained by Shama, turning the gaze away by having a dosha drishti. Now that that mind has been trained in Shama and the Dhamma, the senses are in its own place, the mind effortlessly knows what to do. It doesn't seek support in the outside world of objective reality. Instead, it takes support of the inner goal. Because mind always wants to be in union with Vastu Vyakti Paristiti, with an object, with a situation or a person. So by studies, the mind has been given a direction, and the direction is Brahma Vichar. So effortlessly now the mind seeks support of Atma on the inside. It seeks the support of the capital S self. Mind being a small s earlier, that small s took support of the objective reality for its comfort. Mind wants to feel safe. It wants to be validated. It wants to be happy. And now this mind has been trained to take support of the Atma within. It seeks comfort in the Atma. It seeks security in the Atma, not security in the outside world of people, of objects, wealth, money, power, position, spouse, children, goes on and on and on. Now the sole support of the mind is Atma. It is secure with its relationship with Atma. It is nourished and nurtured by its support of Atma within. And it is a vritti. Vritti meaning it is a thought. Our mind, when it seeks support on the outside of either spouse or child or a person, wealth, bank balance, when it seeks support on all these outside things, it is uncertain. Everything is in the state of flux. Today a person is conducive with me. Tomorrow, God knows what the mind of that person is going to think. It may be my own child. It may be my own spouse. It may be my own bank balance. The markets crash, this, that. I seek security that one day 401k will be there. Who knows? So mind always wants to feel secured. But Uparati is that withdrawal of mind which doesn't seek securities, comfort or support on the fleeting world of objective reality on the outside. It is a support on the inside. Again, it is still an objective support because it is a vritti. Vritti meaning it's a thought, and the thought is of an idea. So the idea that I am that, clearly spoken by my Guru who has conviction in it, Shastra who has no ulterior motives in derailing me. How do I know that the Shastra is speaking the truth? That is, the next one will be coming up is faith. It is that faith that keeps the mind which seeks support on the inside. That is Uparati. So, Bahya Ana Avalambanam, no dependence on the outside world, and it is still a thought because the person has not yet realized Eshaha Upariti Uttama. That's why in Dama, Bhagavan Krishna also says, Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvashaha indriyani indriyartheshu tasya prajna pratishtita. The senses withdrawing from the sense organs, just like Bhagavan Krishna gives the example of a tortoise. 4 limbs, the 2 in front, the 2 in the back, and the 5th one, the head. Everything is drawn in the hard shell in its swaswa golake. And in this way, Bhagavan is talking about the indriya sanyam of the man of wisdom. Then Bhagavan, Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matpara vashe hyasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Again, Bhagavan continues in Sthita Prajna Lakshan that now that the senses are in control, Tani sarvani samyamya, all senses are now under control, including the mind. Vashe hyasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. And now all senses are under control. Person remains in continuous thought of Bhagavan, and that is Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. This Prajna has Pratishtita of this Brahma Vastu. So that is very beautifully, even in Bhagavad Gita, in Sthita Prajna Lakshan, these qualities Bhagavan talks about. Now, titiksha. Now that we are seeking securities on the inside, and we are not seeking securities on the outside. But the world doesn't disappear. The world continues to be there. So the mind gets affected by the pluralistic world on the outside. So again, continuously, the mind is subjected to various onslaughts of the senses and sense objects pounding upon senses, and the senses also pounding upon this mind. So now the mind has to have additional quality, and that is now enumerated over here as Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam satitiksha nigatyate. So, sarva dukkhanam sahanam. All types of pains and sorrows which come about from the outside world of plurality, apratikara purvakam, and without any struggle for reducing them or revenge or any other method. Apratikara purvakam, just learning to witness it and not combating one's own destiny, one's own bhagya, because it's only with destiny and bhagya and prarabdha that all of these situations arise on the outside. It is part of the very blueprint of the jiva. I have mentioned that our birth is picked by our blueprint. Our parents are picked by our own blueprint. Our situations are picked by our blueprint. Our exposure to Vastu, Vyakti, Paristiti, it is all based on our blueprint. We have to learn to rise above all of them. So, apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam, without any worries, without any complaints. Vilap meaning continuously complaining about the problems of the world. And so apratikar, without amending, without correcting, without rectifying, and on top of that positively, without complaining. Chinta, without worries, without vilaparahitam. Oh, when will this end? Gurudev used to say, even this will pass away. You know, that is his very famous statement, that learn to witness the world and tell yourself, even this will pass away. Even this will go away. That is sa titiksha nigadyate. This is called titiksha. This is how titiksha is proclaimed. Sa titiksha nigadyate. Continuously reminding ourselves that there is a higher purpose, higher goal, and all these buttons which are pressed by the pluralistic world of sense objects, it is only to test me, only to test me. How am I going to rise above all of them? That is titiksha. In each one of them, you know, in olden days when people went to the forest for studying in a gurukulam, they didn't know where they will end up. They didn't know where they will sleep, what food will be given, and just a faith that I have to learn, and that is it. I have heard that so many miles away, kilometers away in this forest, there is a gurukulam and this teacher teaches. But people left their homes, their comfort for that. Or merchants left in distant land to make money. And we see in the Purnima Katha of Kalavati and Nilavati and all of these things going on, it is just forbearance and going on and learning, and mistakes are made and lessons are learned, and how one grows in Shama and Dama and Uparati and Titiksha, and how all of that now leads to over here Shraddha, the next quality. Shastrasya guruvakyasya satya buddhyavadharana sa shraddha kathita sadbhihi yaya vastu palabhyate. So over here, yaya vastu upalabhyate. So by this vastu, I have talked about before as well, and vastu, over here the goal being Atma. Atma is referred to as that vastu, vasati iti, that which very well exists. And also vastu, that which very well exists on the outside as well, the objective reality on the outside, and the very subjective self within, both exists. Outside, it is the subjective self Atma which lends its principle of existence to the pluralistic world, and on the inside it is the very capital S self which is the support of my own subjective reality, my subjective presence as the small s, without the capital self, small s, would not exist. So yaya, by that, vastu palabhyate. Vastu, this self, can be attained. And what is the subjective self? How will I find the subjective self? Even though it is within, I have to take support of Shastreshu, what is declared in the scriptures. Shastreshu, Guru Vakyeshu, and the very words of the teacher. Shastreshu, Guru Vakyeshu, Satya Buddhi Avadharana. That what they are saying, what is written in the scriptures and what is uttered by my teacher, it is the absolute truth. It is Satvastu. It is Satya. Satya Buddhi Avadharana, upholding this as the absolute truth. Sa Shraddha Kathita Sadbihi. Sadbihi, by wise men. This is declared to be Shraddha. Sa Shraddha. Sa, feminine noun over here, qualification. Noun is taken as she is known as Shraddha. Kathita Sadbihi, by wise men, it is declared to be Shraddha. Now when we look at this word Shraddha, what is the etymology? The root is Sat. Sat dadati iti Shraddha. That which reveals Satvastu. And Shastra is only revealing the Satvastu. Guru's words are also revealing the Satvastu. It is the feeling that yes, this is true. That's why, Shraddha karma is born out of the same word Shraddha. It also gives us a belief that the karma that I have done will end up blessing my kith and kin who have departed. Whoever it may be, mother, father, grandparents, whatever it may, whoever for whom we are doing the Shraddha karma, we don't know whether this karma that I am doing is actually going to go over there. But it is our faith and it is our belief that alone gives efficacy to this karma. I have attained this world of karma because of them, and they have left this world of karma. So that Shraddha is very important. Only with Shraddha, Shraddha karma can be done. Without that, it will be just some karma, that's all. Just to please somebody I am doing it, but that is not Shraddha. It has to be done with great amount of faith. So we saw Shama, Dama, Uparti, Titiksha, Shraddha. Now we are going to see Samadhaana. Sarvada sthapanam buddhehe shuddhe brahmani sarvatha tat samadhanamityuktam natu chittasya lalanam. So sarvatha in all ways, and sarvada always. So the first line, the first word is sarvada, and the last word is sarvatha. So in all ways and in all ways, W-A-Y-S is the last word, and the first word is always, A-L-W-A-Y-S. So one is time, and the other one is in all processes. So in all processes and in all time, Shuddhe Brahmani Buddhehe Sthapanam. Whichever place we are in, whichever situation we are in, this buddhi is always led to Brahman. Continuously leading this mind intellect complex to Brahman, that is Samadhana. When all senses are quiet, mind is quiet, the beautiful Uparti is attained. Positively after that, having the ability to forbear pinpricks of life, as Gurudev used to call titiksha, then having firm faith that mind is continuously led to Brahman, led to Brahman, led to Brahman, led to Brahman. In all places, always, when that mind is led, it is yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhayah. That's what Shankaracharya ji says. Wherever the mind goes, there is the samadhi. That is the samadhi. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam, Brahma karma samadhinaha. The karma is for Brahma Samadhi. And the act of eating is talked about. Brahmarpanam, it is Brahman offered. The ladle is Brahman. In the ladle, ghee is there, ghee is Brahman. In the Homakunda, fire is there, it is Brahman. Over here, it is the fire of the Jathara Agni of our stomach. So, by this hand, I have picked up Annam, which is Anna hai Purna Brahma. So, that Anna is the Purna Brahma. And with the hands which are Brahma, in mouth which is Brahman, the oblation is done for the sake of Brahman. The Agni, the stomach, acids and all of them, that is all Brahman. Why? Brahma karma samadhina. The samadhi is Brahman. The karma which is born out of food, which is put into the body for the sake of the maintenance of sthula sharira and sukshma sharira, is for the karma of Brahman. In this way, this is called Samadhan. Samadhan is Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. Wherever, in whichever place, whatever situation, the mind is led to the inner kingdom of Brahman, and that is Tat Samadhanam iti uktam. This is called Samadhanam. And Natu Chittasya Lalalam. And it is not the oscillation of the mind, like a pendulum swinging over here, swinging over there, over here, continuously going back and forth. Continuously going back and forth. It is That is what this pendulum is. The mind continuously happy in one moment, sorrowful the other moment, like this person one moment, don't like this person one moment. I wanted to go to this place for vacation. Now that I've arrived over there, I don't like it. Oh, I like it. I wish I could stay over here, but no, the tickets are there. Continuously, this mind is on a yo-yo. And when the mind is removed from its yo-yoing, that mind is placed over there in Brahman. You know, in Bhagavatam, these Gopikas are doing so much work continuously. And Narad Muni just sees, how is this possible? There is, Vyas Maharshi ji has composed this Gopika Geetam, you know. How each one of these Gopikas, in the midst of all problems and the endless work, the mind is ever placed on Krishna. That is Gopika Geet. They end up teaching. Without having the bhagya of studying Shastra, they know all Shastra, because the Samadhi is Krishna. And if the Samadhi is Krishna, goal is reached. What more will the Shastra reveal than the Satvastu? And it is not just some, like Gurudev used to say, some, you know, the blue boy of Vrindavan. That blue boy of Vrindavan is nothing but absolute truth. And that is why that knowledge is so clearly seen in Mirabai. Mere to Giridhar Gopal, dusaro na koi. There is no second. So what will the mind yo-yo towards? It's only in one direction. Dusaro na koi. That is meant by Natu Chittasya Lalanam. That mind has gone in one direction of the Lord of the universe, bas, and nowhere else. This is this Sarvada Sthapanam Buddhehe Shuddhe Brahmani Sarvata. In this pure Bhagavan, in this pure Atmavastu, continuously the mind is placed over there. Tat samadham iti yuktaha natu chittasya lalanam. So this is considered to be samadhan. So we saw Vivek, then we saw Vairagya, then we saw Shamadhi Shat Sampatti. Now the last one over here is Mumukshutvam. What is Mumukshutvam? So that is a very simple definition of Mumukshutvam. Shankaracharya ji reveals over here, and it is said, Ahankaradi dehantan bandhan jnana kalpitan swasvarupavabodhena moktumichha mumukshuta. So ahankar adi dehantan bandhan ajnana kalpitan. So ahankar, ego, adi, etc. So ego and the modifications of ego, and the modifications of ego is Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mada, Matsarya, all demons which are kept alive within, born out of a sense of I-ness and minus. So that Adi refers to all modifications of ego. So this, when we say Kam, Kamna cannot be without ego. Krodh, anger cannot be without ego. Lobh, greed is to whom? Ahankar, etc. So Ahankar, Adi, Dehantan, up to the body. Because the inner demons are pervaded in this blue stuff. But then it also leaks out to the objective reality at the level of the body, that this body is also mine. And then Ahankar at the level of the body. This is my body. How dare you call me fat? You have no idea how much time I have put to reduce 10 pounds. Or the other person doesn't see loss of 10 pounds. But this ownership of the very body. That's why in Janak Maharaj's court, when all of the people, when Ashtavakra comes over there, some of them laugh and some of them, speak between the breath and all of that. It doesn't matter to him. The limbs can be crooked, the body can be anything. He has no identification with body. Janak Maharaj is the only one who stands up, reveres him, gives him an asan to sit, makes Ashtavakra Bhagavan sit, only then he sits. He realizes there is no body awareness for this person. Bhagya has created the body with defects. Let it be, what can you do? So, no identification at the level of body. Now if the identification is there with the body, then at the level of the body, the objective reality is also owned up. This is my home, my children, my job, my bank balance. So the objects also come along with the ownership of the body. That is also to be understood. So the entire objective reality, outside objective reality, the inside, the kingdom of emotions and thoughts, owned up by all this Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Mada, Matsarya, all of this over here, bandhan, all of these bondages, Ajnana kalpitan, they are born out of ignorance. Ignorance that I am that self. And I am that self which is what? Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajaha nitya puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So clearly Bhagavan in one shloka has clean bowled the whole thing. At this I am that Atma, Ajaha, unborn, Nitya, eternal, Puranaha, most ancient, Shashvata. Not only is it not born out of time, but it is not a modification of time as well. That is Shashvata. Eternally it ever exists. Not in any time dimensions. Right over here itself, there is a psychological time. The chronological time says 1 hour has gone by. But if worries are there, psychologically, where are we stuck? This one thing, array, this didn't happen, array, this didn't happen, this. Imagine the mom and dad who want their daughter married. She's 35 years old. They are caught up in the psychological time of bas, kalyana mille, kalyana mille. There's no marriage happening. So they're stuck outside. So many samvatsaras come and go, but internally we are stuck in one event has hijacked the psychological presence is gone. So there are multiple time dimensions. All of them, Bhagavan over here negates them and says that such a person swaswarupa avabodhena, by the knowledge of one's own self. Swaswarupa. Shankaracharya ji has yet written another, stotram. Swaswarupa anusandhanam. Dwelling in one's own glory. So, this swaswarupa anusandhanam, swaswarupa avabodhena, by this knowledge of this self, moktum ichha mumukshutvam. This, by the knowledge of one's own real nature and the desire to be free from the bondage, the inner bondage and the outside bondage, all of these bondage, ahankara di dehanta bandhan ajnana kalpitam, born out of ignorance, and that ignorance can only be eradicated by the knowledge of the self, swaswarupa anuvabodhena moktum ichha mumukshutvam, the desire to be liberated from all bondages inside, all bondages outside, born out of ignorance, not having a clear understanding of who I am. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. And we want to protect the body. We do all sorts of things to preserve it. Bhagavan says that is over here, Shankaracharya ji, moktum ichha mumukshutvam. A very simple definition, a desire to be liberated. Mumukshutvam is a desire. Moktum ichha mumukshutvam. Very beautifully over here talked about. Mandamadhyamarupapi vairagyena shamadina prasadena guro seyam pravritta suyate phalam. So, Mumukshutvam is also in different levels. Somebody can have Tivra Mumukshutvam and somebody can have Manda Mumukshutvam. हाँ, liberation मिलेगा तो ले लेंगे. That is not liberation, मिलेगा तो ले लेंगे. So there is a Manda, Madhyam and Tivra Mumukshutvam. Gurudev used to say that, when your sari is on fire, you just run out and remove these clothes and want to be liberated from 9 yards. That is called liberation. That is called Mumukshutvam, when you want to be free from all that binds you. Anything that binds you, instantly I want to be out of that. So Gurudev used to give this example, while cooking it is on fire, you have created this huge festival and dressed up, and little bit of error and turn around and the side has caught on fire. Now you want to be liberated from it. So, vairagyena shamadina, by vairagya, and then shama adi, all the qualities of shama, dama, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, samadhan, and on top of that, guroho prasadena, and by a special blessing of guru, sa iyam manda madhyama rupapi pravruddha phalam suyate. So, depending, number one, on vairagya. How tivra is the vairagya? They call it, otherwise there's a smashana vairagya. Somebody passes on, they go to smashan and kya ye 2-3 din ka khel hai, and then ghar pe aakar chalo, kya ye khichdi khayege, ice cream kha lege. Arey, somebody has just passed on, and the grieving process has, our shastra says, 13 days you grieve, but after 14th day, come out of it. So this is given for us to understand, but then, that the smashana vairagya, and then back to the old habits. But the examination needs to be there, continuous examination. If a life is not lived with examination, then this vairagya will not dawn. So this tivra vairagya, qualities which are of the student, which are paripakva, ripe qualities, senses under control, mind under control, mind kept in its own place. Shraddha, Samadhaana, Titiksha, all of them, everything is there, and the person has great love for Guru, surrender to Guru, and the Guru's kataksha drashti is also there. That is called Guru Prasadena. That blessings of Guru, manda madhyama rupapi, this mumukshutva, a dull, manda, madhyama, mediocre, api, this, even though it may be all of them, but Guru Prasadena, when the Guru blesses, sa iyam pravruddha suyate phalam. Out of blessings of Guru, with power of vairagya, one may conquer all of these things and get Mumukshutvam for ultimate liberation. So, if a seeker, has manda madhyama mumukshutvam, manda madhyama, but vairagya is there, qualities are there, Guru's blessings are there, such a person reaches the goal. And iyam mumukshutva, when it is sa iyam pravruddha suyate phalam, it will bear the fruits of liberation. And thus it is so important that vairagya be there. Vairagya is very important, and proper qualities, the choices that the student makes. Vairagya is utmost important. And when these Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, etc., when they come, Vivek is a byproduct. That's why Vivek is not mentioned. Guru Prasad and the blessings of Guru, that Mumukshutvam becomes so tivra, and such a person will see the fruits of liberation. And such is a very beautiful uniqueness of the blessings of the Guru, one's own effort and Guru's blessings, both of them when they come together, even if one is deficient in Mumukshutvam, such a person. We will continue. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.